Second chances, the lawyer and the designer. When my best friend Sophie needed legal advice about custody rights, I never expected to walk into my ex-boyfriend's law office. 2 years after our messy breakup, Alexander Hayes was still devastatingly handsome and annoyingly controlling. "Whose baby is it?" he asked, eyeing my stomach. "Definitely not yours," I shot back. What I didn't expect was for him to offer marriage when he thought I was pregnant with someone else's child. "Sterling Associates, how may I help you?" The receptionist's smile was too bright for a Monday morning. "I need your best lawyer for a custody consultation." 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from Alexander Hayes, my ex-boyfriend of 2 years. The universe clearly had a sense of humor. "Emma?" His pen froze mid-signature. Those steel gray eyes I'd once loved looked up in surprise. "Alexander?" I straightened in my chair, refusing to let him see how his presence still affected me. "I need to consult about custody rights after a breakup pregnancy." His lawyer mask slipped back into place. "Whose child?" "Not yours." The words came out sharper than intended. A ghost of a smile played at his lips. "Obviously. We broke up 2 years ago. I can't exactly impregnate you telepathically." Same old Alexander, sharp tongue, sharper suit. "Can you answer my question, or should I find another lawyer?" Custody typically goes to the mother, assuming she's financially stable and fit to parent. His gaze swept over me assessingly. "You should be fine." I stood to leave. At the door, he called out, "If this goes to court, call me." For old time's sake. That night, I told Sophie about the encounter. She was 8 months pregnant and hiding from her toxic ex, Connor. "So, your consultation lawyer was your ex?" "That's either fate or a cosmic joke," she laughed. "What's the verdict on custody?" "You'll be fine. The mother usually wins unless there are serious issues." "Good. Now, about you and Alexander." "There's no me and Alexander." "Right. That's why you're glowing." Sophie's paranoia reached new heights. "If Connor sees us at the hospital, tell him you're the pregnant one." "Why can't you just, because he'll fight for custody and make my life hell." "Please?" At the prenatal appointment, Murphy's Law struck. Connor appeared like a bad omen. Well. What are my 2 favorite ladies doing at the maternity ward? Sophie pinched my back. I jumped into character. "I'm pregnant." Sophie's here for support. Connor's eyes went wide, then suspicious. "You? How?" "The usual way, genius." Before he could probe further, Sophie smacked his head. "Stop staring at women's stomachs, creep." That evening, Connor called me laughing. "I know why you're pregnant. Come to Murphy's bar, everyone's here." 06. The bar was packed. Sophie sat nursing a virgin mojito while everyone else was 3 drinks deep. I reached for a beer when a familiar hand stopped me. "Pregnant women don't drink." "Alexander." "Of course." He downed my beer in one gulp. Connor bounced over like an overexcited puppy. "Alex, my man. When did you 2 get back together? And why didn't you tell anyone you knocked her up?" "I wanted to disappear." Alexander's jaw tightened. "The baby isn't mine." Connor's face was priceless. "Then who, Emma, can you actually reproduce asexually?" "Sophie." I yelled for backup, but she'd vanished with Connor. Alexander drove us to a quiet spot. His interrogation began immediately. "Whose baby is it really?" "None of your business." "Emma, you're 26. You need to think about what kind of life you're giving this child. Single motherhood isn't easy." "Who says I'll be single?" His knuckles went white on the steering wheel. "Then who's the father?" I was done with his controlling attitude, the same reason I'd left him. "You know what? I'll handle this myself." "How?" By asking Connor to play daddy? My blood boiled. There is no baby. I'm not pregnant. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Sophie is the one who's pregnant, I continued. She was afraid Connor would fight for custody, so I went to consult a lawyer for her. Alexander stared at me for a long moment. So this was all an act? Yes. Good to know. He started the car. I was about to do something incredibly stupid. Like what? Like propose to you. My heart stopped. What? Forget it. You made it clear you don't want me in your life. He drove me home in silence. I watched him disappear into the night, wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. The next few weeks passed in a blur of work stress and Alexander-shaped thoughts. My boss was a nightmare, constantly criticizing my designs without offering constructive feedback. This is garbage, Emma. Completely superficial. I wanted to quit, but that would prove Alexander right, that I couldn't handle the real world without his protection. The job he'd found me 2 years ago had been perfect, well-paid, minimal hours, complete security. I'd thrown it away because I felt like his kept pet instead of his girlfriend. Now I was working 60-hour weeks for a boss who treated me like dirt. Pride was expensive. Sophie found me crying over my laptop at 2 a.m. Just call him, she said, rubbing her enormous belly. Call who? Alexander. You're miserable without him, and don't even try to deny it. I can't. We want different things. Do you? Or do you just hate admitting he might be right sometimes? She handed me a book, Jane Austen's Emma. Read this. The heroine is a self-righteous brat who thinks she knows everything. Sound familiar? I am not. The male lead loves her anyway and helps her grow up. Just like Alexander with you. That stung because it was true. 2 days later, I swallowed my pride and flew to Chicago, where Alexander was handling a corporate case. I booked a room at his hotel. Emma? He looked genuinely shocked when I knocked on his door. What are you doing here? Business trip, I lied smoothly. Crazy coincidence, right? He didn't buy it for a second, but he took me to dinner anyway. Over pasta and wine, which I could actually drink since I wasn't pregnant, we danced around our feelings like teenagers. I missed you, I finally admitted. Did you? Don't make me say it twice. That night, I showed up at his room in a silk negligee and my best seduction smile. Alexander's resolve lasted about 30 seconds. Are you sure? He asked, even as his hands found the zipper of my dress. Shut up and kiss me. We spent the night relearning each other, 2 years of longing compressed into desperate touches and whispered names. In the morning, over room service coffee, Alexander asked the question that changed everything. What are we doing, Emma? I don't know. But I know I don't want to stop. I haven't changed. I'm still going to worry about you, still going to want to take care of you. I know. And you'll still fight me on everything because you think I'm treating you like a child. Probably. He laughed, that rich sound I'd missed so much. Then we're probably doomed. Probably. I leaned across the table to kiss him. Wanna be doomed together? More than anything, Alexander proposed 3 months later, on one knee in Central Park, like a complete cliché. I said yes before he finished the question. That was only attempt number 1, he protested. I thought you wanted me to ask 3 times. I changed my mind. I'm allowed to do that. Frequently, he agreed, pulling me up for a kiss. We had a small wedding, just family and close friends. Sophie was my very pregnant maid of honor, and Connor somehow managed not to drop the rings despite being Alexander's best man. Married life was an adjustment. Alexander still tried to manage my schedule, my diet, and my career choices. But now, when he got too controlling, I had better ways of shutting him up. You can't work until 3 a.m. every night, he'd start. Watch me, I'd counter, pulling him toward the bedroom. Emma, we need to discuss. Later, I'd whisper against his neck. It was manipulative and probably immature, but it worked. 6 months into marriage, my career finally took off. My supervisor, who I'd secretly nicknamed the Tyrant, finally explained his teaching method. I've been hard on you because you have talent, but you were lazy. Real success requires struggle. My latest design won a major industry award. Alexander took me to dinner to celebrate. I'm proud of you, he said, raising his wine glass. Even though I didn't take the safe job you found me, especially because of that. You proved you could make it on your own. With a little help from my very controlling husband. I prefer supportive, he corrected. Controlling, I insisted, then kissed him before he could argue. Some things never change. But some things do. We've learned to balance my need for independence with his need to protect me. He still makes me eat breakfast every morning. I still threaten to divorce him when he gets too bossy, followed immediately by makeup sex that makes us both forget what we were fighting about. Sophie had her baby, a boy who looks exactly like Connor. Poor kid. She and Connor are surprisingly good parents, though Connor still occasionally needs supervision himself. As for Alexander and me, we're working on it. Love isn't about never fighting, it's about choosing each other even when the other person drives you absolutely crazy. And Alexander Hayes drives me crazy in the very best way. Epilogue. Mrs. Helpin' Dade. Hayes, your 3 o'clock is here, my assistant announced. I looked up from the design plans spread across my desk. After 2 years of marriage and 1 year running my own interior design firm, I still got a little thrill from hearing my married name. Send them in. Alexander walked through my office door carrying coffee, and that smile that still made my knees weak. Counselor Hayes, I said formally. What brings you to my establishment? My wife. I have a proposition for you. I'm listening. He set the coffee on my desk and leaned down to whisper in my ear. Dinner, dancing, and I'll let you pick the restaurant. Let me? I raised an eyebrow. Allow you to graciously choose, he corrected with a grin. Better. You have yourself a deal. Some battles are worth fighting. Others are worth surrendering to the man who loves you enough to let you win. The end.